Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Mihala Barasa, and last week or the week before we were speaking about digital lending in Kenya and how the regulation of that market is supposed to look like. So recently I went through another article by the Business Daily. So we are doing this video assuming that the information that is by Business Daily is as credible as can get, or by the way, if you've not subscribed, hit the subscribe button down there. So we are going by the assumption that the articles in the Business Daily are actually a correct representation of the fact, and this information might change. The Business Daily might change their information. If they do, then we will be able to change our minds and what we think about the information posted there too. So the article that we are going to be looking at today is popular mobile loan app, I'll not mention it, miss initial CBK licensed lenders. And this is an article by a lady called Lynette Igadwa, and she was talking about the fact that out of a possible 288 digital lenders in Kenya, as at the 17th of September this year, only 10 had been actually licensed because they had given to CBK the proper documentation and what was needed for them to be processed and for them to be licensed to carry out the business of lending. She goes ahead to list the digital lenders that have been licensed, and I'll put the article in the description box so that you can go down and look at which of the lenders have been approved. But isn't it surprising that out of a possible 288 lenders, only 10 were able to get licensing as at the required date? So what does this mean in effect? This means that the Central Bank of Kenya has then issued a cease and desist order for the digital lenders that have not yet complied with these laws. And there's a circular from the Central Bank of Kenya that I'm just trying to look for. I think I had posted it on my LinkedIn a few days ago, and I am hoping that we can be able to go through that very quickly. Yeah, I'm still with you. I'm just looking down on my phone because yes, the press releases. Yeah, and again, I'll put it in the description box, but I'll also put it somewhere here on my screen so that we can be able to read through it together. And the letter basically says the Central Bank of Kenya announces that the transition period for all operating and regulated digital credit providers to apply for CBK license ended on September the 17th, 2022. This is pursuant to Section 59 of the Central Bank of Kenya Act that required all operating and regulated DCPs to apply for a CBK license within 6 months of the publication of the CBK Digital Credit Providers Regulation of 2022. That's what it said. And they said CBK has received 288 applications since March and has worked closely with the applicants over the last 6 months in reviewing the application. Additionally, CBK has engaged other regulators and agencies pertinent to the licensing process, including the Office of the Data Protection Commissioner, which we shall discuss in a later video. We acknowledge that the efforts of the applicants and the support of other regulators and agencies in this process. So far, 10 applicants have been licensed as DCPs pursuant to the CBK Act and the regulation. Details on the licensed DCP can be accessed here. You can click on the letter and then you can see it. Other applicants are at different stages in the process, largely awaiting submission of the requisite documents. We add that these applicants submit the pending documentation expeditiously to enable completion of the review of the application. All other unregulated DCPs that did not apply for licensing must cease and desist from conducting credit business. That's where the cease and desist is. And actually it's in bold, if you can see, it's in bold. Reports by the public on unregulated DCPs can be sent to, then they give the email address. The licensing and oversight of DCPs, as indicated previously, was precipitated by concerns raised by the public about the predatory practices of unregulated DCPs, and in particular their high cost and ethical debt collection practices and the abuse of personal information, which is going to be now the subject of this video. I think one of the things that actually precipitated this regulation was the story by the lady that went to the deputy CBK governor and told her that, I think this is sometime in 2019, and told her that the husband had committed suicide because of the nature of harassment that he was receiving from a certain digital lender. They did not mention the digital lender, but the lady went ahead to tell the deputy CBK governor that everybody, like people in the neighborhood, were receiving phone calls and texts. His grandma had received a text, I think, and the aunt had also received a text on the fact that this young man had not paid his digital debt, and the turmoil had continued for so long until, I think, at the time that he died, or at the time that he paid the amount of money, and it had cost him so much grief, anguish, and embarrassment that it was one of the reasons the young man had committed suicide. So this great concern this was one of the great concerns that led to the enactment of this digital credit providers lending regulations of 2022. Regulation 20 is essentially on the debt collection or the credit collection by digital lenders, and it majorly outlines what digital lenders are prohibited or not allowed to do when they're trying to collect debt from you, myself, or any other person that has borrowed money from them. So I'll start off by reading actually what is exactly written. A digital credit provider, its officers, employees, or agents, this means even if they pay someone to collect the debt for them, that person will not be allowed to do whatever is listed in Regulation 20. Okay, so a digital credit provider, its officers, employees, or agents shall not, in the course of debt collection, engage in any of the following conduct against a customer or any other person. 1, they are not allowed to use threats or physically harm you or your property when they are trying to collect their money. That is not allowed. It is in fact criminal for them to destroy your property, to threaten you, or to physically harm you. You can actually prefer criminal charges against them if that happens. They cannot use the threats against you or against your family. Secondly, it's not just limited to threats. They're not allowed to threaten you. And they're also not allowed to use abusive language, or what the regulation calls profane language. They're not allowed to use obscene language while asking you to pay back their debt. They cannot use obscene language on you. They cannot use obscene language on your family, on your friends, on your guarantor, or on anyone that knows you have this loan, or anyone that they choose to ask for this loan, which they should not be doing in the first place. Number 3, they are not allowed to access your phone book or your messages or anybody's contact on your phone because they want to send them messages and tell you person X has not paid my debt. That is also illegal. Apart from accessing your phone to pick contacts and send messages, they can also not call anyone that's close to you, your family, your friends, your employer. In fact, why are you calling someone's employer? They're not supposed to be calling your family, your friends, or your employer and asking them, oh, Mihala has a loan of 2,000 shillings and she's not paid. Please tell her to pay. It's not my employer's job to tell me that I'm supposed to pay the debt. And this, again, takes us back to that point we were talking about in the first video, that a digital lender should do their due diligence. They're supposed to have done their research, like talked to me, looked at my bank statements and my M-Pesa statements and decided, oh, we are giving Nihala a loan on the basis that she can pay this loan. In the event that she's unable to pay this loan, then it should be proper. There should be a guarantor. Who knows they are my guarantor, by the way? There should be a guarantor who will pay the loan. And they're not just supposed to now start calling anyone from my phone book because I have not paid the loan. The agreement is not between my employer and the digital credit provider. It's between me and the digital credit provider. And if they did not do their due diligence properly to ensure that I pay their loan, then that should not be my employer's problem, unless my employer is the guarantor. Next, we all know about social media, and sometimes they know where you work because you've posted it on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook. You've posted it somewhere that you work, or they've illegally gotten that information from your phone. So now they know I work at place X. And because they want to shame me, they decide to put this information on social media, on probably a website that my employer visits frequently, on a news website, on a blog, or somewhere that they know will embarrass me because I have not paid the loan. So they're not allowed to put this information anywhere, either on the internet or in print, anywhere, for purposes of shaming me into paying my debt. Again, that is illegal. And then, my favorite part of this regulation, it just says, improper or unconscionable debt collection tactic, method, or conduct. What's the beauty of this statement? If you decide that you're coming to collect debt from me, and I feel like this is improper conduct, I'll actually cite this part, and we will go to court, and the magistrate or the judge or the conciliator gets to decide, is this conscionable or is this not conscionable within the confines of the banking and any financial regulation laws. Does it look unconscionable? Is it unconscionable or is it not? If we cannot decide, then let's leave it to court to decide that it's unconscionable. And if they end up violating, if they violate any of these regulations under regulation number 20, then that means they have the danger of their license being revoked, one. Number two, they might have financial penalties or financial sanctions, and a lot of the financial services, people in the financial services industries or organizations in the financial services industries understand and are very scared of financial sanctions, because the financial penalties are not very kind. They're actually extremely heavy, especially coming from a regulator like the Central Bank of Kenya. And as I come to the close of this video, when you've defaulted on your loan, or when you're unable to pay your loan, it's also good for you to reach out to the digital lender, especially now that they are mandated to give their address and physical address and maybe an email address. Reach out and say, let's rework the terms of repayment of your loan. And this would be a good time to lean on the regulations and tell them, well, the regulation says you're supposed to give me a statement. Give me my statement and let us work on a way to rework the loan, instead of now them having to go through auctioneer proceedings to make you pay the loan, or secondly, them resorting to whatever unconscionable practices this may be. So I hope this has proved instructive. I'm hoping to do like a more one-on-one and personal touch on this with Sophie. Again, we could not sync our calendars to bring this video to you early enough, and I wanted to get done with this part of the video so I can move on to something else. But again, I still want Sophie to come and talk to us about digital lending and what she knows, and especially this collection part. So I'd be very happy to have her on the channel to discuss some of the things with you. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much for tuning in. If it's your first time here, please subscribe. If it's not, thank you so much for clicking on a video with my name on it. And this is a very shameless plug. This makeup of today, I like it. It's done by one of my children. She's called Amy. I am going to link, nenda kumshameless plug hapa chini. I'm going to link her details in the description box, just in case you have an event or anything and you have to do your makeup. Get in touch with her. I think I'll be collaborating with her on a few more videos. So until I see you all next time, I guess this is goodbye. See you.